break down the Rubik's Cube to be able to get inside of this building. Thatcher going to be removed. We want no easy siege here. You're going to have to burn everything, FURIA, in order to get into sight. What's going to be the next hindrance? It's going to be the Jackal again. And I'm loving this ban.
Yep. It really frees you up. It's a target ban. Let's be honest. It's an operator that Elevate are willing to play, and it's an operator that they're happy to bring. And FURIA are just saying, we're pretty happy with everybody else that's available here. We don't want to remove a hard breach. We don't want to remove any flank watch or flank protection. Instead, we are just going to hit you where it hurts, and we're going to take away your ability to clear us out on the roam quickly.
Oh, man. And FURIA knows exactly what they're doing inside of this ban phase. Not only Jackal, but Goyo also being removed. They're removing some key factors to this defense and making it very difficult for Elevate to build themselves up in the same way. Goyo is a mainstay for anybody on a Kafe defense.
It really is. It can add a lot of intricacy to how you want to try and deal with those shields. And of course, if the shields are placed well, they become a little bit of a weapon for the defenders to use as well. You can burst the gas canister on the back and let out a load of flames. Elevate going to be starting off here on the defense. So we've got FURIA starting things off on the attack. Reading room and fireplace is going to be our first choice as we get a little cute 6-pick. The old Hibana for the Maverick. I mean, give Rare some nades, honestly. With the way that he's been playing, give him more fragging power.
Absolutely, especially with just how potent Maverick is overall. I mean, if I had to play a hard breacher, it would be Maverick. Not only do you have the torch, you got grenades in that beautiful M4 with the 1.5. That's everybody's favorite scope in the game at the current moment. If a 1.5 is available to a gun, 90% of the time somebody is running it. I think like the only one that I've seen at this LAN that hasn't been is Shepard has the ACOG or the Type 89, but that's it. That's literally it. Everyone else is rocking these 1.5s because of how good that scope happens to be for Siege. Having that little tiny dot right in the center, just perfect for hitting those little headies.
That's the thing, it's just clean, isn't it? You've got great sight picture, nice and clean, and at the end of the day, Siege is a shooter. You know, for all that it's intricate and for all that there's a utility exchange that goes on and there's all these complicated things that happen in terms of utility, you've got to get kills, and that was really demonstrated in the previous map. Here we are looking for Elevate to come up with some kills. We don't want to see the same mindless aggression that they showed early on in Bank. Again, Kafe is a map where there's a lot of potential for jump outs. There's a lot of potential for throwing yourselves out of windows on East or getting yourself onto that bakery balcony. Try and tone that back a little bit. Let's just think about things for a moment or two. FURIA, they know that, and already I can hear the little buzz that is an air jab every now and then as players make their way past, and they're just looking for that bit more security.
Gary already starting to take a little bit of damage in Fantasy to strike first. As you said, this guy is a menace, and he's looking for more. He'll find it as well. Onigiri getting caught off guard. Elevate, you're going to have to fight back. Put your hands up. You're getting punched in the face. FURIA are already towards the site X. It's 2 minutes. What is happening? This LATAM energy is just something to just... What do? You can't even scoff at it. They have control up top, but the rest of Elevate, they've just sat on their hands.
There's no point having vertical control if you've lost your sight that quickly on, because you know that there are attackers going in to remove those players upstairs. And at the moment, Fantasy is just a fancy flank watch. You can look through that fireplace and just see if there's anybody else left to find, whilst the rest of his team shove all the players on the side of Elevate further and further toward that east side, whether it be down the hatch, whether it be down the white stairs, exactly where DHC is playing right now. Nate is going to be coming up on the flank, and there's going to be nobody watching this flank drone. Fantasy finds himself that kill as well, as that guy has got a 6th sense. However, he will be traded out. Damage at this point has been done.
Well, Nate will at least be able to get the flank, but Nerix is going to fall immediately. Tries to take the challenge out towards Doc. Can he land any shots? No, he can't. Not the Dark player to get him. It'll be Highs instead that drops down into Laundry. But a quick moving round here for FURIA, and they're just simply not going to let Elevate breathe at all. I really like this choice in aggression, especially from just having Fantasy push himself into Train, catching Elevate completely off guard.
Can be a very self-sufficient player as well, and you'll often find yourself watching him on his own drone or something like that too. So he's got himself into a good position. He's been assisted there on the roam game. Sure, he's fallen off and he's been taken out there by Nate, but that was the only kill that we saw Elevate get in the entire round. It doesn't really matter at that point. You can afford to trade 3 for 1. That's exactly what this game is all about. It is about those numbers. Elevate, they have been burnt downstairs in the fireplace, and they're going to go upstairs into the bar and cocktail lounge just just to see if there's any respite to be had.
Well, Onigiri really not able to decide what he wanted to go with that 6th pick. We saw a couple of different options there, but finally he rests on Legion. Now, the big problem with this upstairs defense now is no access to Goya. We're so used to seeing an insane amount of deployable shields on this top floor to make a lot of these spaces much easier to play, especially inside of Pixel, but they're only going to have access to Nerix's shield. They do have Ney, though, on the Mira, so we could see like Bathroom as well as Freezer be occupied with those, and that looks like what we're going to be getting.
The mirror window is going to be susceptible to that vertical play, the nades, and of course you've got to give a nod to the Capitao. It's an operator that we saw FURIA bring on Bank, and they bring it for a very specific purpose. It's to flush players out, get those fire arrows in, get the smoke arrows out, give yourself a little bit of cover, move defenders around, and with no Wamai, they are going to sail through.
Gonna be so very easy, as we did see Wamai inside of that operator pool they were looking into for the 6th pick, and honestly, by the end of this round, they might have wanted it. We'll have to see if they'll regret that, as Rare's already on the roof. Now, there's a lot of different scary things that can happen here. The good news for Elevate is that there is no buck for FURIA here, so we're more than likely not going to see a cocktail offense. They should be walking into what Elevate wants, which will be the standard take of Christmas.
Hanging out on the roof, waiting for the hatches to be open. The hammer swings, the hatch pops, and we see air jabs immediately deployed on down. You really don't want to be getting flanked. And you know that Elevate are a team that are willing to do so. There is DHC, who is off-site at the moment. He's currently on the bottom of White Stairs, but he's got a lot of room to move downstairs, and he can choose to do whatever he wishes. But the push starts to come into that shop area as Lender lets a breach fly. Fancy on the rappel is going to give a little bit of intel, but it's going to be Onigiri as the first to fall. Highs finds himself a freebie. Why are you peeking that?
I was about to ask the same thing. Onigiri, do not be putting your face in these things so early, man. You can't lose this positioning. Now Elevate have to have a resurgence into here. It's going to be the smoke of Nerix, as he'll be holding things down inside of this space, with the plants already going down from Miracle on Trash. The micro smokes come in, and that smoke's going to be too late. Miracle to simply stick it. He doesn't care about his life. He's going to go down and die, but Furia's already dealt so much damage. DCH is done. It's all down to Sapper now.
Sapper, long way to go, finds one, makes the SMG-11 hit. He likely knows where the plant's gone down at this point, but the nades are coming in and his position is going to be known. He's obviously just had a gunfight, so that isn't going to be working too well for him. Draws for the shotgun, lack of information. There's nobody playing White Stairs. We know that, but he doesn't. 20 seconds left to go. He's got a heck of a lot to do here, especially with the positioning that FURIA have taken up. Two of them on the roof. That skylight is a gaping hole that you do not want to be going anywhere near. Zappa, a couple of cursory shots there are going to fly, and he's going to try and play for a kill here. Grabs the down, but look, 3 seconds. Highs, flies on through, finishes the round for FURIA. That is a very quick plant.
I mean, there isn't even a jab to set up the overhead here with this swing. I'm telling you, there is no lead-off punch. They are just haymakering them constantly. And for Elevate, they're not able to find any picks at all. We see that early engagement with Onigiri on the Whitehall window. That doesn't go their way, and immediately FURIA hops too. They know that no one's going to be occupying that space inside of the freezer area anymore, to where they can obviously try and get something done inside of that space. So they immediately hop to it, the micro smokes, and get that plant down on the trash wall. That was a hell of a call from FURIA. You guys have no idea how difficult those situations are to get to go off in that fashion.
Well, it's the trust, isn't it? On paper, it looks really straightforward. It looks really easy. It's like, oh, they've just seen that it's clear and they've gone in and planted. There is so much more that has gone on than that. There are so many small conversations, small words exchanged there to be making sure that everything happens at the same time. Everybody is pulling in the same direction. Miracle choosing to stick the plant and kind of pulling the short straw. I mean, I don't really think there were any short straws to pull there, because FURIA were just in such a good position. The mirror windows, you think about the mirror windows that were played, you're like, they've got to have a bit more impact than that. You need a bit more information than that. You maybe play them a little bit differently, maybe look to switch that out into something else. It's just a distinct lack again on the side of Elevate, and once again they've gone searching here for answers. Finally, well, not finally, but I guess maybe they think it's finally, because they did try and 6-pick onto the Wamai and had second thoughts. they've been able to pull it out, but there is no intention to play the Capitao here. FURIA, they have got many a card up their sleeve.
Yeah, and this round actually might be even more damaging than the previous one with the Monty in play. How does Elevate deal with this? They're not going to have any trap operators for him to have to worry about that. So everything that Lenda does is just going to be acting around Nerix's utility. They don't even have any Nitro cells to be able to toss over the top of him. So Monty is going to get so much traction inside of this round. I'm very, very scared for what can possibly happen. But Nay, he's going to shut me up, the naysayer myself, as he'll take down Fantasy, who was 4-3 already, or 4-2 rather, now 4-3. But now FURIA not going to be slowing things up just yet. The Monty will drop in, and obviously Sapper very well aware that the Shielder is in this space.
If there's one thing that FURIA don't need more of, it's space. And if there's one thing that Monty can get you, it is space. Look at it already. Sapper's been pushed off. He's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. Can't deal with the Monty. I'm not equipped for that. I'm only a mere castle, and I brought the bulletproof. What can I really do against this? So that's the shop cleared. Bit of information needs to be removed now, as we're going to see the nade come in. It isn't actually effective. Of course, that can be bashed, but you do leave yourself a little bit susceptible. A little bit of teamwork, I'm sure, will make it happen, but Monty is going to eat a couple of zaps there and just have to dip himself back for the time being. Second nade now going to be cooked and thrown through, and that one will hit.
I love that Nay still tried to look away like he was being shot at right there. But frag grenade instead, and those explosives, obviously the exact thing you need for those evil eyes to be removed from play. FURIA rather, still have quite a bit of time here as the barricade will be bursted open, but Heiz has a lot to do, although I believe it's unbeknownst to him in the current moment. DCH being pushed onto, but now Lenda gets taken out from Onigiri on a cross angle. It's actually a FURIA that's lacking information in this department right now, and finally Elevate come to light. It's all down to Miracle right now as he rappels down to Heaven Window.
Well, this is a lot of work to do. He's going to find Nay through the same angle that Nay started this entire round off on, and then get himself onto the roof. He's 1 versus 4 with 50 seconds to go. But this is going to be quite the task. What a lack of information there from FURIA. And, you know, you bring in the Monty, you're expecting information. That's what we call him. We call Monty the human drone. There's still drones left in pockets here for FURIA. They've got 6 out there, so there's an expectation that they're going to actually try and use them. I think they'd really badly droned inside of Piano. Now we're going to see one come out, but 30 seconds, what is Miracle going to be able to do? It could be a very desperate drop, and if it comes through the skylight, well, it's going to be messy.
FURIA have got to remember that Elevate are still to be respected. They are no slouch when it comes to gunfights, and if you do not have proper info coming into these fights, they're going to punish you for it. Did a very, very good job of defending Christmas here. Love what they were able to do around the Monty and pull his aggro towards one side of the room so they could obviously challenge him from the rear, exactly how you should deal with a Montang. Miracle not going to be able to land any shots, but luckily enough for him, the stat pad will work out. He'll stay alive on New Balcony because, well, there's really nothing for him to do in the first place.
It looks better than staying on roof as well.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
It looks a lot better than just sitting on roof.
Guys, I tried. I promise.
Miracle's
really
had a great tournament. Let's not blemish that one with a needless death there. The round was always going to go to Elevate, and it gets them off the mark here. They have now picked one up, and they are only 1 round behind the pace. Down we go into the kitchen. And this is, there's no fancy footwork looking to come out here from FURIA. It is very basic stuff. And that's where they need to maybe go back to, bring the Hibana, get that 6-pick over on from the Maverick, get that ability to open up the wall a little bit better. And to be fair, Elevate have done very much the same.
Yeah, I really love this Nomad pick that we continue to see from FURIA as well. That's going to be actively limiting Elevate in the way that they like to play the game, which is that aggressive front. They want to get into your face. They want to possibly try and get in on the rear end, possibly get a flank or something along those lines to really deal that damning blow if they can find it. But obviously FURIA thinking ahead on this one, so we should be continuing to see Miracle with this operator selection. Past that, Fantasy will be back onto the Finca. We're having a routine lineup for a site like this. Now the big thing for FURIA is getting control of that second floor X. They want to get Heiz in there and start to sledge up this flooring inside of mining as well as train and see if there's really anything to be done downstairs inside of this space. This is always very damaging if they get control of this. And on top of that, they also have Zofia, so they can even make the extended holes to look in towards bunker.
You can get some really nice angles on that top floor, and like you say, bringing the Nomad, it gives you that ability to just take a little bit more of that control as well. And we can see the way that Elevate are postured at the moment. There's a lot of them downstairs inside of the kitchen. That kitchen's going to become a very tiny place to be if nobody gets themselves out there on the roam. So we'll have to see what their intention is here from Elevate, and if they do try and flex on into that second floor ever so slightly. But for the meantime, it's going to be a top floor take, as FURIA aren't going to take any chances. Coming in from the top, dropping down the hatches, ensuring that everything's clear.
Did you see that? They have all 3 of their Kona stations on bunker. All 3 of them are lined up back there. And I believe you can activate them all at the same time as well, so I think it should just triple stack you for HP if you take a lot of damage. So that's a pretty interesting setup there. I honestly think I like that. We'll see. We'll see if I like it later on. Maybe I'll look back and be like, man, Stokes, that was a really dumb thing to say. But we'll have to see. Either way, though, I really like what FURIA has done with their early game here. Highs just jumping in. Folks, that's not a mistake. They had early drone info around these stairwells. That's what you always want on maps inside of Rainbow Six, because stairwell is the only way that the defense gets upstairs. You get a drone around that space, you already know what people are doing early on, so they know that no one's inside of this area. FURIA is going to take that. The Sledge has already started his work, and we're only halfway through this round. The pacing is fantastic right now for the offense.
You've got to look at the positioning as well of players like Fantasy now. He's getting himself onto the window, and he's now able to start picking up any players that start to rotate. The site's getting opened up. It's a smaller and smaller place to be, and you don't want to be underneath those sledge holes as they're being made. But there are players on the side of FURIA ready to catch. Miracle and Lender both thinking about coming in from the bottom of white. Onigiri has already taken a ton of damage. DHC just manages to dodge himself out of the way of a nade. The hatch is open up into Dynan, and that can be a bit of a vulnerability, but kills now do start to fly. Does anybody know where DHC is? The answer is yes, but can you get the kill? Well, that's a no. He's able to shut down Lender, but the trade comes in instantly.
Insanely unfortunate in the moment as TCH will go down inside of VIP. Elevate have been able to equalize here going into the last 45 seconds. FURIA not able to abuse the VIP space like they thought they originally would, especially with that frag grenade not landing from the booze window. We really need to see that go deeper into VIP to do anything damaging. And now, with people dropping into the actual freezer space, the M590 will work well for Sapper. He'll take down 1. He'll take down 2. It's actually a triple kill for him on the round as he is sending FURIA back to the drawing board. It's up to highs now with 15 seconds. Still clutchable inside of the 1 versus 3, but I highly doubt Elevate gives him any rope unless it's to deal damage to himself, and that's exactly what's going to happen. He steps up to the plate. He's not only getting lit up by the lasers from the Evil Eye, but he's also going to get taken down by Sapper for the quad.
Thoughts on the Kona stations now that we've seen them in action? I quite like it. I'm going to preempt this by saying you're peeking out with the shotgun, you dip back, you get Kona stationed up, then you move through, you've got a bit of health if you take the damage. It worked really well.
It's beautiful, honestly. I really, really like it, especially that they had the ADSs there to be able to prevent any nades from coming in onto that as well, because that just makes it to where he's basically protecting gold in the corner, right? He's got so much utility value there. Is like, okay, guys, you can't destroy this.
He's a dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
A dragon at that point.
He's just sitting on his gold pile there, and it pays off. Elevate, that was all intended for Sapper to get something done, and that he did.
Brilliant round from Elevate. They've leveled things back to 2 rounds apiece. Now they've got to go to a site that they have struggled in. This was where we kicked things off in round number 1, and it's where we saw Fantasy just essentially stroll in and pick up 3 kills. It didn't look like too much work for him. I don't think he even broke a sweat, and it was the start of a very damning round for Elevate. Can they make the change? Can they make the adaptation here? Let's see how the setup goes. Still rocking those Kona stations. The Wamai is a constant pick now as well after that initial threat of a Capitao. So Elevate are adapting to what FURIA are bringing here, and they're thinking, you know, we need to be working on our feet here. We need to be solving problems as we go.
I am just in love with this nursing station setup right now. I just feel like they're walking into the Pokemon Center every single time. It's like, all right, heal me up, Nurse Joy. Like, it's so perfect for this situation here for Elevate and the way that they like to play the game. So, now the good news is for all of our LATAM fans at home is that FURIA already has 2 rounds on the offensive side of Kafe. So, technically speaking, they've hit their mark. Anything past this is just, hey, guys, we've basically won the map if you really want to go at it in a stats way. But this is why we play the game, X. Anything could possibly happen. It is Rainbow Six Siege.
Siege isn't played on paper, that much is certain.
I mean, Dev would love that. He's such a good stat.
I think there's a few people that would love that, to be fair. I think there's a few people that would. In the cells of a spreadsheet, maybe. But that isn't how it goes. It's got to be played with boots on the server, and that's exactly what we've got here. FURIA not going for the same approach. Fantasy this time is going to be clearing out that top floor, but he's just as deadly, Stokes. He takes down DHC as he gets caught out just on that rotation out of Pixel. He heard the audio cue, he knew the windows were getting popped, but let's be honest, if Fantasy didn't grab him, Highs probably would have done. That coordination from FURIA being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, speaking of the wrong place at the wrong time, DCH, you really got to be focused on what's going on in the round. It's just one of those things, game sense-wise, you start to understand the more and more you play Siege. There's certain parts of the map that you're not allowed to exist in at certain time frames, and it just so happens to be Christmas at around 2:15. People are definitely on your rappel, even if you didn't hear them. Let me tell you, they're there, and they're willing to shoot you in the face if you give them the opportunity. That's what we're going to see go down early on here. FURIA is starting to extend themselves across the entirety of this building rappel-wise. Got a few bodies in here. Fantasy's progressed himself forward with the rest of the squads. They're looking to take Cocktail.
There is still going to be a player upstairs inside a Cocktail. Saper lets the C4 fly. Fantasy just dips himself back ever so slightly. Nay could have a nice swing here, but he's likely only ever going to find one. Gets the kill over onto Fantasy as Saper picks one up onto Rare, leveling. Look at the damage that Nay is causing here from that position. More live pings available. Shots are now coming in. Lender, you've got to move a bit quicker than that. He's going to let him get away, Stokes.
And now what miracle! He's going to catch two downstairs. I don't know if he knows that he has one to the right. Sapper still SMG-11 in hand and all of the hot pings, but oh no, Sapper, you have to make the play. Don't back out now. You have to challenge this man. And it's going to be a triple for the ARX-wielding Nomad in the dying moments here. And FURIA get away with a round that they really shouldn't have had.
You got to make the play or the play will make you. There was live information on that player inside of the laundry. It was a great start. FURIA came out of it, nice pace. It wasn't the rush into site that we were expecting. They caused a ton of damage from the Cocktail Lounge, but it wasn't enough. Miracle saw that opportunity, and that's what you're going to see. Opportunistic plays, calculated aggression, and it just furthers the point that we've been drilling home this whole series long. Miracle is having a heater.
Yeah, this land seems to be his, which is, like, for me, truly hilarious. And I'll tell you a little bit about it here in the prep phase since we're here. Actually, funny enough, like 5 days before I got on my plane, I played a consulate game against him. He was just solo queued and ranked. Bottom of the leaderboard. They won. I got absolutely smoked by the other people that he was playing with. They were just hopping out of every window. Of course, I had to pick up the Nomad to make sure that would stop happening. I got my frags, but I still lost the game, you know? Yeah, but that's the thing, you know? The ELO is what we're really caring about. My frags, they don't matter that much. So, Miracle, I mean, when we get home, if you could give that back to me, that would be great.
Maybe see if you can queue up together.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the answer.
Exactly. Maybe he can carry me. Like, as
he plays the Nomad, so you sorted there. It frees you up, you know?
Exactly. Then I can go back to my old Ashmain ways. It'll be perfect.
Well, exactly. I mean, someone's got to do it, haven't they? It's a hard job, but someone's got to do it.
It's a terrible job. I hate doing that, X. I would absolutely hate to play that operator, let me tell you. But either way, I mean, Miracle has been just so electric this entire land, and yet again, he proves to us why we keep having to respect this man's name. Pulling FURIA ahead again here on the offensive side. I mean, they're just looking stellar in the moment, and I don't think they're going to be slowing down anytime soon. This is going to be the last round of their offensive half, and they could split this 4-2.
It really could. We're going to see a little bit of a change come through as well. We commented on it at the time that Highs wasn't playing the book. He was in fact playing the sledge previously, and now we've got the book brought out. Now, the push didn't work previously when we saw the Monty push onto this top floor. We did see a successful quick plant, but that's not something that they're looking to repeat. FURIA are looking to keep things moving, keep things different. So with the book, we may see a little bit more pressure coming in toward this reading side. And Nade's being cooked. It's going to be thrown, and it does not land. Nade actually finds the kill onto Fancy from that heaven balcony. It's a kill that will be traded, as Highs does take down DCH, but damage done.
Very well done there from Nay, as he was just sitting in a very sneaky spot inside of Heaven, one that a lot of people are used to when you get in towards Cigar and things like that, but not so much when you're trying to contest from down low inside of Pillars. It's just not really something that you're really cognizant of in the moment. You're waiting for somebody to maybe rotate in or make a play around the bar space. You could possibly catch them off guard, but obviously not the case. FURIA in the moment trying to look for more of a cocktail-centric offense as they're clearing out this basement area with the skeleton key, as well as some of these breaching rounds out of Lenda.
Nice Claymore there to go down, just to cover any risk of a run out. It's Great opening at the floor, but you need somebody else there to try and catch these kills. And losing Fancy, well, it's losing the guy that you would expect to maybe play on a window. Nice little thinker boost. Bit of an audio cue going down here on White Stairs. We see a couple of fire arrows get sent in. Rare just seeing if there's anybody there to be caught. And well, Nerox is going to get dealt a ton of damage, but the finishing blow hasn't landed. The smokes are still going to be there in play as Sapper deals with the drone on those White Stairs. This has been well telegraphed at this point, Stokes. Everybody on the side of Elevate knows that this is where the push is coming from. FURIA now, do they commit to it?
Oh, looks like the Alda, it's gonna get it done. He just lets the chopper sing the whole time, just runs it through the bars and finds him inside of raiding. Elevate is not gonna go silently into the night. One drops down the hatch, has the play for White Stairs. Miracle's already taken so much damage. Lenda gets one, but oh no, Lenda's gonna get away with too much here. Sapper shuts him down, but then Rare, the shoe's on the other foot. Onigiri inside a White Hall. Can he get Miracle up inside of this situation? I believe he'll have the opportunity, but also the Evil Eye upstairs inside a bar reading him out. Onigiri's giving up his positioning. Rare on very low HP. Now Onigiri trying to fight back, but he's only got the revolver. He's being chased, and Rare off the top rope with the para will take him down.
What a play from Rare. What an intense 1v1. The information was in Elevate's hands. They had all the cards there. They had red pings to go off, everything. And Rare still makes it happen. You've got to give a shout out to Lenda for this play because the speed at which he was able to move, and I guess to a degree, the slowness of Saber coming up those White Stairs, he could have just finished that. He could have nipped it in the bud straight away, but he let him get away with too much. Sure, the kill comes through there as a trade, but it's too little too late once again. And now we see a little bit of a familiar sight on the scoreboard. Another 4-2 split. This time, we're not on the attacker side of Bank. We're on Kafe. Kafe's difficult.
It is very difficult, my friend. And the big thing that we talked about inside of the prep for this is that Elevate have not been the best in their utility usage. The good news is that it looks like they've brought the proper lineup for this. This is what I was really worried about when we had the consideration on Bank, because they just really weren't bringing the utility necessary to clear the map in a convincing way. This time around, they have everything at their disposal. The big master plan up inside of this has got to be the Flores of Ney. We need to see him land these Rotero drones on the important points of Furia's defensive setup.
That's going to be the really key thing here, especially when you think toward deployable shields, you think toward bulletproofs, anyone that's holding Pixel. We've got Malusi Banshees cracking around, and there's no mute. So you've got to be a little bit more proactive against these Rotero drones in order to shut them down at source. They are vulnerable until they are stationary, but when they are stationary, you know about it in a couple of seconds because they are going to blow, and it can be very difficult, especially if you're trying to sneak out of the way of it, if there is a bit of a crossfire on the go. So something to consider, something to think about, and let's see how Nate chooses to use them. FURIA, they've opted to go upstairs to the top floor, bringing the Cade for a little bit of electrification there, looking to keep control of Washroom and Freezer pretty fiercely. But they've also got themselves a little bit of a presence elsewhere. Lenda,
please, your smoke.
I hate it when smokes are looking at windows like that, when it's already a little bit broken and you know that all he needs to do is press W and space and he's going to be flying out.
Oh, that's the Siege player in both of us. We're like, please, God, no, not your utility, not you. But it seems like they have a couple of different options along the lines here to be able to deal with this. I do like Lenda's positioning overall, though rocking the stairwells with the M590 is one of the best things you can possibly do because it's practically a free gunfight if anybody actually wants to try and swing into you. So we'll have to see how that ends up breaking down over towards this side of the map. But as for Elevate, they're not being allowed to breathe early on. You guys saw the spawn kill come out downstairs in the dark area or hell, whatever you want to call it, whatever you call it back at home. Nay's going to take a little bit of heat, but that's really going to be all she wrote for that situation. Past that, Elevate's transcended to the roof. Nerek's coming up brown right now. Everything's pretty good looking so far for Elevate.
Nereus could get himself into a good spot. The problem is he's got Fancy above him there on the stairs, and I'm not sure if anybody really knows. A little bit of presence coming down of that new hatch will quickly see Fantasy scurry away or maybe even dealt with. So the timing of that is going to be quite crucial. The more patience that Elevate show here could be rewarded with it. Onigiri just going to hop into the drone. There's a chance that he's Just setting himself up a little bit of a flank watch here. No one actively there to look onto it, and Eric's just thinking twice. He gets away with the kill there onto Nate. Honestly, I would swear that they were going to just hold for him and they knew that he was there, but apparently not. That's going to give away a lot of your information and a lot of that hard-hitting power of the Rotero drones.
Yeah, truthfully, this is terrible. Elevate, look at the time right now. They haven't used any utility X. They still have 6 frag grenades. What is happening right now? They have to clear this out. The only thing that they've done has gotten rid of the laser gate here for White. The smoke's now starting to come out, but there's ADSs here as well. They'll get rid of that with a frag grenade, but that just didn't hit its mark, really. But either way, Elevate have to try and propel themselves forward, and now the laser gate's going to get reset. They don't really have any utility to be able to deal with this either. Elevate's starting to spring too, but Miracle's there to cut off the drop, and FURIA, they are getting away with so much on this defensive side as Elevate just simply aren't using their utility.
Well, time to hop into the clone and time to burn the Surya gate, as you really haven't got many other options. 8 seconds left. You're going to have to push something. Lender's going to be the one doing the pushing. Onigiri is going to fall, and Nade won't cut it. DHC, I'm afraid you are going to be able to find one, but ultimately
they are quite good at taking their fights, but the big thing right now is that FURIA continuously staves them off in a bunch of different ways. That round, it just so happened to be the utility. Yeah, I completely agree about the Rotero drones, but the big thing is that FURIA's not even manning the shields inside of this situation. They're just simply leaving it there as more of a ghost shell setup, and Elevate are just like, okay, well, do we want to try and take Christmas? Do we want to try and go for the mid floor? They had a lot of different ideas spiraling around their noggins all at the same time, and they just couldn't decide on one.
You're setting up a pixel hold and playing somebody in bathroom, and the bathroom's fully reinforced and it's got a Cade on it. You look at it and you go, you almost scratch your head. You're like, well, what do we do here? Because we can burn the pixel spot, but then we've still got to get around somebody in the bathroom with a shotgun and an ADS. All very difficult stuff. Let's see if Elevate have been able to conjure an answer there in that short little timeout. They're going to be looking toward a different site, with FURIA being successful on that top floor. Of course, things have to change. And we go down into Fireplace. Not reading in Fireplace and mining. So a little bit of something different, something that we don't always see. But I think at this point, FURIA are willing to go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people as well starting to try and play both of the sites more on the mid floor. We're both super used to reading. Miracle looking for so much here. He's got the SMG-11 at range as well, and he actually ends up tagging up Nay. They trade almost perfectly in damage. Miracle taking just a little bit more, but that's really only because Nay actually has a rifle in comparison to a machine pistol from the window. So very interesting decision there from FURIA, but Miracle's not going to be too mad about it, mostly because they have the Kona stations around. He'll just run back upstairs, get healed back up, and, well, he dealt some damage to Nay. So got to be happy about that, as Elevate is going to be sweating in the moment yet again.
It's a running theme, isn't it, for the defenders here? They're bringing those Kona stations regularly, and they're obviously making good use of them. And why not? If the attackers are going to be bringing a thinker, let's have a little bit of health for yourselves as defenders. Lender got a C4 primed and ready. It's going to sail on out of the window. Doesn't hit its mark. It's actually the only C4 that's been brought in. Oh, save again. Sorry, Miracle has one as well. So still opportunity to try and deter that top floor push, but it's happening very slowly. There is no surefire commitment at the moment. We've got Nerix looking to see if he can grab himself a cheap one from that bakery balcony. But there's still players from FURIA that are dug in on that top floor, and you know that they've got the ability to rotate.
We have got to see Elevate hop 2 here. It's a minute 30 remaining. We still have 8 grenades in the pockets of these players. Guys, let's get to clearing some things. Let's get to applying some pressure to FURIA, especially in this top space area. X, there's not a single ADS on the floor here. I don't know if I'm blind, deaf, or mute here, but I mean, they need to hear me. I'll run over to the bench if I have to. Elevate have got to do something with this area, get some good information on the drone. He'll begin chasing Fantasy around, but he'll just drop off here. He's more than willing to give this up, as it's a minute and 10 seconds.
You can give top floor up because you've got Banshees placed on the stairways, and ultimately they're going to come into quite a lot of use. Onigiri was there for the catch though, and he is going to grab first blood here onto Fantasy. It's a good advantage, and it's an advantage that Elevate need to try and run with here, as not a lot else has gone into their favor. We talk about the amount of nades left. This is where things could get dangerous if the nades are thrown. Lender is going to grab one back and remove a set of nades off Onigiri.
Now Linda coming back up white stairs. Rare in position inside of reading. And Nay, he needs to get more work done with this sledgehammer. Another angle found as Rare gets chased down inside of pillars, but the shots don't land properly. He's allowed to exist as he'll run back into a Kona station inside of Fireplace Hall and elevate once again. A stick in the mud here. A frag grenade down Brown, but clearly nobody inside of that space. They're trying to look for so much, but so is Linda, and that's the case down outside. Elevate stuck inside of the building. There's not a single person anywhere that can get to this X. They can't get outside. This is a FURIA round through and through. DCH blows himself up, and Heis guns down the rest of the team. What is happening right now to Elevate?
Elevate, when we ask you to use your utility, when we ask you to throw the nades, we want you to let go of them. We need you to throw them. Don't keep a hold. That's only going to end one way. FURIA put themselves onto a match and series point here against Elevate. Boy, oh boy, this is one heck of a game. Elevate coming up against significant obstacle at every single turn. There is not a lot going right for them at the moment, bless them. It's siege timing through and through. It's unfortunate circumstance that you do see from time to time. You see the odd nade that's going to drop at your own feet, or you end up running into it, or you have to move, or something happens. But all in one game, it's just a little bit too much to handle, isn't it? Elevate, they're going to be doing some soul searching now. They need 4 clean rounds on the bounce to even think about taking this one to an overtime. And FURIA are just running through the motions.
So much pressure on Elevate right now. I am not envious of the anxiety in this moment for them at all, especially after that last round. I mean, that's just a dagger to the heart from Linda. They really thought that they had an opportunity there, and the last thing that you're worried about while manning that window that he has to swing into for dining is somebody running down white stairs at 20 seconds to shoot you in the back. Incredible decision-making from FURIA inside of this one. They've only given up 4 total rounds inside of 2 maps. This is truly insane. And honestly, you have to be happy for these FURIA members. I mean, usually when we look at this team inside of their own region, it's the fantasy show. Today, it has been the FURIA show, and personally, I'm loving it.
Really is. You know, Fancy sat there on 8 kills, sure, but there's contribution elsewhere. Miracle, he's going for it again. He's keen for a little spawn peek, isn't he? He's desperate. I don't think he's going to rest until he gets one. And even going with the Echo this time. Maybe that's why he made the change. Onigiri is going to actually shut Fantasy down. Imagine from that little jump out there. Fantasy obviously trying to double down there with Miracle. We're going to see another kill come through. That LMG, it has the gunning power. This is the Elevate that we wanted to see. Punish that aggression that FURIA is showing you now as the finish line is so close for them. And they're jumping the gun a little bit.
Yeah, the 150, practically some loaded dice when it comes down to it. You can just spray down walls and just pray to God that it hits somebody, and it will this time. The R6 Siege Gods are more Tachanka than anything, gracing him in this moment and giving them a kill that they desperately needed. But here's the thing, they still got to close this out, and FURIA is no slouch. So many people that are still alive are willing to take it to Elevate. I mean, look at Miracle in the moment. He's not slowing down. None of this team is worried about what is going to go on in the next couple of minutes. Elevate have to take abuse of this and try and propel themselves into the site.
This is where we need to see them take the advantage. They're doing a good job now of gathering the information. They need to understand the lay of the land. What are the obstacles that they're going to have to go against here? We're going to see the Electroclaw there removed. Could be potential for Saper to get himself in and try and do something there. DCH just going to hop into the drone and see if there's anything that he can add to this, what must be at this point a wealth of knowledge, because we've seen 3 players on drone for at least 30 or so seconds. So you better believe that there's something set up here. And Onigiri is certainly putting that LMG to the test, seeing if he can just snag himself anything with those lucky wall bangs or the potential. And Eric's got himself in a great spot at the top of white. The drone's going to work ahead and call the site as clear, but he gets a couple of shots in there onto a player inside of reading. And this might be the in that Elevate need.
Oh, beautiful shots onto Linda, and Nerek's more than obvious knows that somebody's inside of reading, but Miracle, he's just better in this situation. He'll shut him down. 45 seconds remaining now, and Miracle has so much to do, and with DCH at the bottom of white, it'll only take him to be able to remove Miracle from the equation. It's all left up to Heis, but this is looking doable. In the moment, he'll be able to pick up Nay. Won't be able to prevent the plant, though, and all of a sudden, this skews towards the offensive side.
The hole's not being kind to him there. The plant hasn't gone down in a default location, so he's not going to be able to affect on it vertically. And with it being confirmed, it's take your pick on where you want to watch. Do you want to watch a staircase? Do you want to watch a hatch? There's a bit of a ping there available, and the hatch was, of course, the play. Elevate, when they needed it the most, have been able to pull around here. You've done it once. Do it 3 more times.
Yeah, I think the big thing here, though, is I highly doubt FURIA ends up coming at them in the same way inside of the opening minute. I mean, that's some ranked Kafe I've ever seen it. Yeah. Let's try and, swing the double for the dock spawn, and then I'm just going to hop out a red window and see if I can kill somebody. And I'm not going to worry about anybody being on blacktop either. A little questionable, FURIA, but, you guys have done so much inside of this series. You've only allowed 5 rounds between 2 maps. I'll give you some slack.
Exactly. I think they're just giving Elevate a little bit of the taste of their own medicine from way back on Bank at the start when we saw Elevate flying out of windows. It's been that sort of game through and through. It's been bubbling under the surface all the time, just itching to pop itself out. And slowly FURIA have cracked over the pressure. Miracle, we've seen it spawn peaking a couple of times, SMG11 in hand. They're having a little bit of fun with this. They know that they've got a significant advantage. However, there's still a game to get over the line here. And Elevate have tasted success recently. Can they double down on it? Downstairs to the kitchen is where we are going to go.
Now, this is where things could get dicey. The good news for Elevate is that there isn't an overabundance of utility that's going to be preventing them from planning. The big thing is that there's an abundance of utility that's going to slow them down in getting there, especially with Linda on these Banshees. FURIA is going to extend over into VIP. And X, I don't know about you and what you have been casting recently, but for us over in North America, this was a thing for quite some time. It went away for a little while. We come to SI, it's back. The good news is that there hasn't been a change up, just people all of a sudden wanted to start playing VIP again.
It's preference, isn't it? You see teams have different preferences. Do you want to try and defend the freezer in VIP, or are you going to look to play aggressively inside a bakery? It's very difficult to know which is the right move, and I don't think that either's right or wrong necessarily. You're going to need a little bit of vertical with both. There's a bit more pressure on throwables if you're going to try and defend into the bakery side, and if you leave the breach open, you're of course a little bit susceptible. With the Jaeger being brought, there's opportunity to maybe replace that utility if one push is coming in from one side or another. But fortunately for FURIA, Elevate have been moving fairly slowly. So I don't think that there's going to be any significant pressure early on that they're going to have to worry too much about.
Pretty cheeky angle here from Onigiri. Trying to look deeper in towards the bakery area. Soft wall on the left-hand side here will make things just a little difficult for either squad trying to fight around that space. If Elevate doesn't keep an eye on it, somebody can definitely step up and remove one of the Elevate members inside of that area. They're going to begin working upstairs. They need to get him inside of this crane and mining space and start working on this flooring as soon as possible. Onigiri's still going to be working the outside area here. Long distance with the 2.0 scope. It's going to be difficult for shots to be landed from inside because you have to slide it right through that truck window, and those metal bars actually hold up bullets as well. So either way, going to be pretty hard shots trying to be landed. Fantasy, he's going to take some damage. Make it more now as a lot of heat coming in onto him. He'll be forced back, and no Kona stations this time to res him.
I mean, that's why you need the nurse station, right? You need to take that little bit of damage and then go back to the safety. It's a strat Elevate used, and they used it well. No such fortune for Fantasy here. The floor is going to continue to get ripped on open, and the site is equally being vacated almost as quickly as the floor is being ripped. Electric Claw likely going to get dealt with here, or maybe just in for the barb. No, Claw is going to go as well, as we are able to see that start to progress and develop a little bit. And Eric's just looking to push himself, or given the option to push himself down Brown if he so wishes. But you've got to think about the info here for Elevate. Do they know where these players have rotated on out to? Because you've forced everyone out the site, and you've essentially said, get out and get there on the roam. There was no one there to catch. So now there are a lot of people that are unknown.
Oh, big pickup there from Onigiri. He just sees him underneath the knocked over wardrobe, and Neo get one of his own from the verticality upstairs. FURIA all of a sudden bleeding here, and this is doable here for Elevate. Rare, though, inside of small bake, and has a read on Onigiri, who's not looking over to the left-hand side. He'll get taken down by Rare, who doubles back over. Sapper now stuck inside of Freezer. Nades abound, but it's DCH to strike. Linda fights back. Sapper gets one as well, and he'll start to plant, but not before DCH also gets the kill. More than likely going to try and apply themselves to this defense in a different way. We're going to see probably the most preferable site, I would argue, in the likes of Reading Room and Fireplace Hall.
This is where FURIA needs to try and get it over the line. Twister having a good chat with the team there and just seeing if there's any words of wisdom, any things that he can maybe see that have been going wrong over the course of the past few rounds. Stokes, you've got your hand over your mouth. You're going to need to remove it to talk. What is going on?
They 6-picked away from Sledge. They've picked up Twitch on a site where Sledge is so unbelievably important. And I mean, I gotta say it, X, you guys just abused Sledge so very well on Kitchen. It looks like they assumed that it was going to be a bar cocktail offense that they were going to be playing. But no, it's not going to be. It's going to be into the second floor here. And without Sledge, the only soft destruction that they're going to have is going to be on Onigiri.
And the Twitch is a weird one to 6 onto anyway. You could understand a change.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, you can understand a change. However, you're moving from a Sledge, you've got the hammer and you've got the nades. You're dropping the nades, fair play, but what are you getting in return? Well, you're getting the shock drone. Is it really worth? Is it really valuable? I don't feel like it is in the context of this Kafe and the way that the teams have been battling it out. It's maybe not necessarily worth it.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you on that one, especially with Rare on mute as well. You're going to have to be worried about Nay's positioning with these these shock drones in general. FURIA now extended out towards the mining side, at least for Rare's case. Also, obviously, holding on to the top floor for the time being, as this is going to be of the utmost importance to hold away from Elevate and try and gather this last round that FURIA so desperately wants.
I really enjoy how Elevate are paying a lot of care to the windows and looking for jump outs and stuff like that, and you just get the feeling that in that team talk, Twister was going, don't run out, don't aggress, no spawn peaks this time, drag it back, you know, let's play this properly and let's get this one over the line before it runs away. But it's causing a time loss on Elevate, which is a time loss that they can seldom afford to take. Maybe a chance at getting the yokai. Excuse me, please. Ooh, a little bit of fancy footwork, but it wasn't quite enough. -1 yokai draw. Maybe that's why they brought the Twitch.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I like that we all of a sudden got an episode of BattleBots there. That was a pretty good time. Nay also with some fancy footwork here with the Twitch drone. He'll get it done, just breaking ankles left and right. He still has both of them still alive, so I guess he shut us up for the time being. But the big news is that there's actually a dwindle on this timer right now. We've been watching this Twitch drone so much. We're already halfway through the round.
Second yokai has gone now as well with that drone, so there really is no significant denial left in terms of those yokai drones. We've got the Toxic Babe canisters, we've got a C4 to go at. All is not lost, but spending that time and then not having a Sledge to recover it very quickly, because you can open up the floor very quickly with the Sledge, it's going to come to hurt you. So you might have the top floor, but you've got to now try and do something with it. FURIA on the flip side, they're going to be lacking intel going into this final minute.
Now, the big thing is that FURIA is also going to know this if they're worth their stock, because Twitch wasn't inside of the lineup. As soon as that Twitch drone starts shocking things, you're like, oh, Sledge isn't here. This is really weird. Okay, so obviously Elevate going to be in some trouble, but now for Nay, he's gotten so much done against the Echo drones, and he's going to be the first one to strike as well onto Fantasy. They're looking for reading as of right now. Nay needs to clear out the laser gate to start going for this, though. FURIA still has some people in some key moments. Need to get rid of the mute jammer up top to be able to pop that as well, but this timer continues to tick down. Elevate now fighting the clock. Miracle attempts to tag some people upstairs, but it's not going to be worth all that much. We are going to have a drop into Janitor here. Nerox will be able to get one. Nay will clear this finally, and Elevate, they've got it across the board, but now Lenda, he's made the move up the stairwell. Sapper's starting to plant, but do they have the angles down here? High's able to try and find one, but DCH, he'll find him instead. They don't have the angles even set up. Lenda's starting to take some heat, and it's a frag grenade from DCH to continue to keep Elevate alive here on Kafe.
What a great nade there coming in. We've criticized the nade so much, and then we see the best nade thrown. It landed at the feet of FURIA, and well, it was enough to get the job done. Sledge, who needs him? Just take a Twitch drone, bro.
I guess so, especially when you got fancy footwork like that. I mean, that was truly incredible to be able to get both of those Echo drones. But the big thing is that, guys, that is so hard to execute. You have no idea what that man had to go through in that round to be able to pull that off. And Nate, on top of that, also getting kills with the F2, all in the same breath. He's going to go back to Sledge for this one, but I mean, tip of the cap to him. That was literally insane. Either way, if they end up losing it right here, I'm still going to be like, yeah, Elevate really gave it their all, at least in these last couple of moments here on Kafe.
It's a party trick, and it's a party trick you've got to be able to pull out. You know, everybody's got one. If it's bringing Twitch every now and then and causing an absolute madness, then just so be it. FURIA, You got to think, their backs up against the wall. They're on the ropes. They've taken a lot of punches. How many more can they take? This is Elevate coming back from a 2-6 deficit. They have picked up round after round. We challenged them at the time, said, you done it once, do it 3 more times. This will now be the 3rd. If they level this thing up into an overtime, who knows what happens?
Honestly, I really want to see it. I think that it deserves it. I think that we deserve overtime here, not only for these two teams, but for the fans at home. This is built up to this moment. It's been boiling. I believe it's about to boil over here if Elevate can actually get this round. We could see FURIA completely gobsmacked going into this overtime, and we could get the full best of 3, just like Dev and the desk was talking about.
Maybe. Just maybe. Clubhouse is going to be the map, I believe, that awaits us if we do get that far.
Oh, that would be so crazy.
You imagine?
Oh, man. Dude, I'm frothing at the mouth for that. I mean, come on. Elevate, though, they're going to get up to the roof and begin the regular beginnings to Kafe, which is droning out this top floor. Every team has to have a clear for this space, and Elevate will begin theirs now.
FURIA have been suffering on that opening pick the last couple of rounds as well. The success for Elevate has been coming off the back of that opening engagement not going FURIA's way. And Fantasy, sometimes a player that is found out by that. He was 8-8 only a couple of rounds ago, and he's failed to have significant impact in the kill department, which he is arguably best known for. He's out there on the roam currently. How long is he going to be able to stay alive? Certainly the drone work for Elevate's gotten a lot better. The utility usage has got better. They've improved over the course of this series so far, and it's been brilliant to watch. Can they now get this one over the line? Again, it's a trademark slow clear. They've not been in a rush to do so, and I think they're taking that time. It's given them that little bit more confidence to say, we can execute late on. Opening kill, yet again.
Fantastic stuff. You know, my dad told me something a really long time ago, X. You really never know what kind of a man you are until you get punched in the face. And this is what's happening to Elevate in the moment. They've gotten punched in the face, and they immediately got back up and said, all right, if you want to swing, I guess I'm about it. And that's exactly what's going on here. Miracle starts to fight back. This is what you and I love to see out of both of these squads. Let's see it happen here, Elevate. Can you guys get it done? FURIA are not going to give it up that easily. You guys have got to fight for your control here as Nay will take down Miracle.
Another kill going in the favor of Elevate to further the advantage again. It's been a slow and steady backward and forward here between these two. Red just keeping an eye onto the bottom of that new hatch. Conscious that there's still an upstairs presence, so the nade's going to sail through there from Nay just on into the site. Probably in an attempt to remove a little bit of information. There will be pings happening around him as well to assist him in that endeavor. FURIA, I don't want to say they're playing scared, but they don't look to be playing for that rotate. They're just sitting and waiting and hoping that these angles are going to pay off. Look at what Rare's holding now at the bottom of Red. He's either going to find himself 2 or none here.
Oh, Fantasy with a big pickup, and we're going into the 3 versus 3 with 30 seconds remaining. Nerix will be able to clean up Fantasy, and Sapper with one onto highs as well. It's all up to Rare. Seen so much from him thus far inside of this matchup, but as we're starting to see more of this, it's looking like the possible OT mark, and it will be as DCH has the counter angle all the way in through reading. And just like we said, it deserves it, and it must happen.
I said he's either going to pick up 2 or none. He would have needed to pick up 3 there. It turned out to be none. FURIA, can we say they're playing scared? That wasn't the confident FURIA that we saw over on Bank or in the first half of this game here on Kafe. Elevate, they have made the comeback. They've done the impossible. We have seen an attacker-sided Kafe. Just wrap your head around that for a moment. It's been 4-2 splits both sides, and now we see the switch up. It's time for a change. It's time for overtime, and FURIA get themselves the fortune at this point, in this context, of being on the attack. Are they going to wobble?
That was exactly what I was worrying about, is they've had so many rounds go to the wayside inside of the last handful that you get back to offense. Offense is quite complicated in comparison to defense, because defense, you set up the map your way and you go kind of do your own thing. You set your spot, you kind of play off what your teammates are doing. Offense is all about coordination. You have to be on the same page. Your info game has to be good. You have to be playing for those trades, because if the defense gets ahead of you on utility, you're basically screwed. There's a lot of different ways for things to break down on the offensive side in comparison to the defense. So we'll see if FURIA are quaking in their boots or if they are ready to go inside of this OT.
you can quickly find yourself in a fairly impossible position if you're attacking and you've run out of utility and you haven't got anything left. And we cast our minds back to FURIA at the start of this game. They showed great prowess in that ability to execute at the same time and the coordination as a team. And as the game has gone on, that's just slowly switched. The scale has shifted to where it's Elevate that have that level of coordination. And FURIA, after a battering, have got to bounce back here on the attack. It's been the favoured side throughout Kafe. We need to try and make something happen here whilst Elevate have heated on up. It's likely going to be a top floor clear. That's typically the way that FURIA have been approaching it. That is if they don't just send Fantasy on in. But where is the info? We see the drone get thrown, but no, he's just waiting to collect.
I mean, that was really it. He's going to rotate back down into coat check. They've gotten their pick, and now they can just chill out. I really don't know what FURIA's strategy was with that, but not only did they lose one of the mainstay fraggers, they lose probably the most important operator inside the lineup minus the hard breach. It's going to be FURIA. We've been talking about her so much this LAN and what she brings to the table, and the likes of those adrenal surges as well as that LMG, and now they're going to be missing out on all of that beautiful utility. And for Elevate on this basement defense, they get to do what FURIA should have been doing the whole time. Just chill out. Wait for the offense to do something after you get this pick. We saw a lot of very active play early on from FURIA, especially when they got to that 6th round. Lots of active play in the beginning minute that ended up giving Elevate way too much room to breathe, and they just tried too little too late to shut it out. I really would have liked to see more respect in that manner, but it is what it is. It is what it is at this moment. They're definitely going to have to try and get it figured out now down Fantasy.
I'm kind of surprised to see them setting up for this freezer take again, given the wantingness of Elevate to play inside of this VIP and the fact that they just got mowed down in the freezer. We got the Kona station set up once again, the shotgun played close range by Saper. It's not going to be an easy take to make, especially when you're going for all this vertical. There could be a late round pivot here, but FURIA need to find themselves an in, and that could be it. Traded one back, taken out on Agiri. That's going to remove the Wamai. Okay, the utility's out there, but it's a gun gone nonetheless.
Well, Elevate more than likely still having their health station set up all the way at the back inside of Bunker, because we have been seeing this time and time again. And no, actually, they're going to switch it up on us. I don't exactly know where they've applied them this time around, but we'll have to see. Going to have Nate over inside of lobby. Nerix, he's going to have at least one of them over inside of this space. They've actually spread them out this time around. Elevate's going to lose another body, though, as, oh no, FURIA has already made the play. They're inside of Freezer. Linda knows one's inside of the VIP as well, but he needs to land his shots. Nerix tries to fight back, but he can't. Miracle with yet another, as it'll be down to Rare to get this plan off. DCH on the other side of the map, he'll have a hot ping as to where the case is going down, but he has no utility to be able to abuse the space in which he's in. He's trapped inside of Whiskey, and it seems like FURIA knows where he's coming from.
It's going to be a difficult one here for DCH. He's getting constantly flashed. I'm not sure how much intel FURIA have got here, but there's certainly intel available for Elevate. If he can break these down, he might have a chance, but he gets caught looking skyward. Some could say he gets caught looking sky high, but it will be highs to find that last kill. Nail that one in. FURIA on a match point yet again.
I absolutely love these two from FURIA. The constant just handshakes. There's no fist bumps or anything. It's like, gentlemen. Like, it's so great. I just love seeing it every single time. But FURIA, they're going to pull ahead yet again here. And yeah, it just seems as though we're getting offensive side Kafe. The first day of the LAN, this map was actually statistically offensive sided, which is hilarious. It's so funny I almost cussed right there. Like, that is something that you never see on Kafe, but we're gonna get it yet again. And now FURIA, they're gonna switch back over to defense. They're headed upstairs to bar cocktail Elevate. You've got to do something. If you're gonna swing hard.
Well, they're bringing the nades, which is going to be tick number 1. They're bringing the lifeline, that's arguably tick number 2. They've got the Finker, it's always a good addition. Got Niana, great. Like, this is a stellar lineup. You can do a lot with these 5 operators. Can you break this defense? Because previously we have just seen such a timid approach. It's a similar setup coming out from FURIA. They're likely going to reinforce and cade off into Washroom and Freezer again, as that is their chosen strat, or at least it has been throughout the course of this game, with still a setup in onto Pixel.
Well, there's only 2 more boxes to check on this list, X, and it just so happens to be win this round and then win Kafe. That's what they need to get done. They cannot allow FURIA to get past this point. FURIA, with their setup upstairs, an extension out towards Pixel, the traditional way as well. ADS is in front of the deployable shield as Elevator let out the gates.
Going to be conscious of that spawn peak again, as it's been a threat that FURIA have posed throughout this map. It's not going to take too long to get themselves up onto the top, though. They know how important this round is for FURIA. Not only is this a map and series point, but if we do end up going on to a clubhouse, that is going to limit the amount of points that either team could get from this series. A clean 2-0 is going to net you 3 points. Anything less, you're going to be looking at a 2-1 split.
Yes, indeed, my friend. Elevate, as of right now, trying to play this cool, calm, and collected, not being too forward with their hand just yet, taking their time, droning things out, and getting a great understanding of what lies ahead of them. They need to clear this out perfectly. They only have one chance to get this right. Nay will be the first Elevate member in the building as he drops into red. He's got a long road ahead of him over here inside of Christmas, as he does have the frag grenades along for the ride, as well as 2 other members of Elevate. Onigiri also having the impacts as well, so just like X was talking about, plenty of utility for Elevate to work the map here, but they still have to get it done. And since it's a very comparable setup to the last time, FURIA is just going to back off of that pixel shield back into the bathroom and force them to clear things twice.
Well, it's the halfway point in the round, and we're finally seeing a little bit of burn come on through. The Toxic Babe canisters are going to go off. The shield does remain briefly, but will quickly be dealt with. That's now going to pile the pressure on, but as you mentioned, there's still a shotgun to be dealt with at close range, and that is not easy, especially when Naya spent both of their nades in order to clear the shield. You could really do with a bit of a rotation there from either the Iana or the Finker just to come and help deal with that. There's a chance at a bit of a crouch walk into bar, but again, it's risky stuff. Banshee on the door as well, not going to be easy to deal with, and it's just going to slow down anybody that's pushing through and give that audio cue. The shotgun's going to be favourable here as the Surya Gate gets reactivated. That's a lot of burn that hasn't gained very much.
They had to level up there. That was the big thing. They needed to continue to push into white until they were completely done with that space. And since Elevate have done this in a halfway manner, this looks like this round could be what FURIA have wanted on the defensive side the entire time. It's 5 versus 5 inside of the last 30 seconds as Nate propels himself forward. It's going to be all onto the picks here, but it's FURIA to strike first as they take down Nerix. Nate has made his way up into the bar, though, as he'll claim 2 lives. Lenda fires back onto Onigiri, and making a double for him as Rare gets Nay. It's all down to DCH. He'll clean up 1 down low, but with 10 seconds remaining, he has to try and push upstairs. It's a 1 versus 1, but Fantasy knows where he's coming from. Case down. DCH has to win the fight, and it's a brief fire from Fantasy. FURIA shut it down. It's 2-0 for the LATAM squad.
What a last round there for that series. There is no better way that FURIA could have gotten away with that one. Coming down to a 1 versus 1, a Claymore of all things to move it from a 2v1 to a 1v1, and Fantasy, the player that, let's be honest,